Hey, welcome to the Draft Viewer. Luis Scott Vargas here with Team Channel Fireball Fire member Matt Nass. You're 2-0 with your draft deck so far.
Yep.
Yeah, let's take a look at what you drafted here. So this is your pick one, pack one, and this was not a very controversial pick.
Yeah, just took the Rish card.
Yeah, Rishkar, Pima Renegade, one of the better cards in the set, and pretty much cements you into wanting to be green at the very least.
Yep, and it happened to be foil, so
well, additional bonus. We can't tell it's foil here, but that is an additional bonus. Let's move on to the second pack here. And so pick two, nothing extremely exciting. Tell us what you ended up, kind of how you ended up making your decision.
Yeah, so I think the best card in this pack is probably the Poisoner, and green-black's a pretty good color combination, but it's not so much better than the Cavalry that I would be wanting to move out of green, so I just took the Cavalry.
So you took Lifecraft Cavalry and kind of set yourself up to just take 2 green cards and keep yourself open for whatever the next color would be.
Exactly.
Take a look at pack 3 here, and then pack 3 had some powerful cards as well. This actually pack had a few more good options in like Felidar Guardian, Windkin Raiders, Hinterland Drake.
Yep. Yeah, I think Felidar Guardian is really only good if you get a lot of Revolt, and the Windkin Raiders is really good, but I've already passed the Drake, which I thought was one of the best cards in that pack, and so just gonna still keep myself open.
So you took another Lifecraft Cavalry.
Yep. Got to be a little careful about how many 5-drops I have at this point.
Right. Let's move on to pick 4 here. And still no reason to move out of green, especially given the options here.
Yeah, I think Prey Upon's a little worse in this format than it is in other formats, but it's still pretty good, and with Cavalries, it's actually really effective.
Yeah, you had 2 Lifecraft Cavalries and Rishkar already, and Prey Upon can also serve as a Revolt enabler if you really needed to.
Yeah, if you're desperate.
Yeah, so you took the Prey Upon. Take a look at the next pack here. And walk us through what went on with this pack.
So this is a little tricky. Red hasn't been too open, but I think there's a chance it is, and I think Destructive Tampering is the best card in this pack, but I still want to stay open, and Destructive Tampering isn't that much better than the Aether Seer. I think that card's also a little bit underrated, and so I still just stayed open with the Seer.
So you took the Pima Aether Seer and moved on to kind of figure out what your next color is going to be, but as it so happened, this pack gave you a bit of a signal.
Yeah. Aether Chaser is really good, and I think the best red common, maybe the best common, period. And so I was really excited to take that. The Leopard's also great, but at this point, red seems pretty open.
So here you took the opportunity to take the best card out of the pack in a different color and actually kind of stake a claim towards red.
Right, and that was because of the signals I was seeing, like the Falter from the last pack.
Right, so you took Aether Chaser. Let's move on to the next pack here. And here, no green cards on the table.
Yeah. So might as well take the red card that also happens to be the best card in the pack.
Sweatworks Brawler. Even if red-green improvise isn't exactly where the most typical build.
This isn't the perfect fit for Brawler, but if I just pick up a couple implements or random, and I have the Chaser already, it can make the cut as like a 3-drop basically.
Right. Take a look at pick 8 here. And here you have kind of 2 green cards. You have a Pima Aether Seer number 2 or Verdant Automaton, which is a green card and can help with Sweatworks Brawler.
Yeah, I just think the Automaton isn't that good, and I really like the Seer more than most people.
So you ended up taking Pima Aether Seer. Let's see what you ended up with after pack 1 here, or pick. All right, so here we go. You have all green cards, two red cards, one of which is quite good in the Aether Chaser, and one which is okay in Sweatworks Brawler. How committed to red did you feel after this pack?
Despite only having 2 cards, I felt relatively committed because of the signals I was seeing. I saw the late Chaser, the late Sweatworks Brawler, and the late Falter effect.
Yeah, Destructive Tampering.
Yeah.
And then, of note, you didn't really pass any good red cards either.
Right. I actually passed more green than red, so I'm more likely to have a bad pack 2 in green than I am in red.
Yeah, but with Rishkar, Prey Upon, and then 2 Cavalries, you felt pretty happy with your green right now.
There's no way I'm moving out of green regardless of whether I see green cards or not.
All right, let's take a look at pack 2 here. So, not the most exciting pack.
Yeah. This is pretty disappointing. I'm probably going to take one of the 1-drops artifacts that will go well with the Sweatworks Brawler. And my leaning was Implement over the Dreadnought. Dreadnought is good if you have a lot of 3-power guys, but I didn't quite have enough yet. Right,
so you take Implement Ferocity, not the first pick you dream of, but a place to start. This pick went a little better for you.
Yeah, 2 fight cards, but one is much stronger than the other.
Yeah, so you end up taking Monstrous Onslaught, which works quite well with your like Cavalries and Rishkar. You can just do a ton of damage.
Yeah.
I'm going to pack 3 here, where this one is also a fairly easy pick, I would imagine.
Yeah, I like the Reckless Racer as well, but I think the Revolutionary is significantly better. And while I do like red, and I think I'm going to go in that direction, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, you haven't taken a red card this pack.
Correct.
So you take the Malphus Revolutionary. We want to pack 4 here. And This actually has a couple of different good red options.
Yeah, so there's Shock, there's the Boar, and then the Leopard's also pretty good if I do want to stay open. But because of what I was saying about the signals, I was okay with taking a red card, and I think the Boar is the better one.
So you went with Outland, Boar over Shock, even though the Shock is a little more efficient, you thought the Boar was just powerful enough.
Right, right.
And at this point, you're pretty committed to red. You've got 3 good red cards.
Yeah, I also have Prey Upon and Monstrous Onslaught, so I have some removal already.
Right. And what did you end up taking in this pack?
I think this was a pretty easy Unbridled Growth, just perfect with the 6/6, the Cavalry.
The Cavalry. And then opens the door for splashing if you end up in that spot. Over Frontline Rebel as possibly the second option.
Yeah, like Frontline Rebel is nothing impressive. Probably the best thing to do with Frontline Rebel is that because it has to attack, your opponent might not suspect you have a Cavalry in hand.
Right.
And so they're more likely to trade with it.
All right, so moving on to pick 6 here. You had a rare Threaten, a red combat trick, another red combat trick, and a couple red creatures. So red is quite open in this pack.
Yeah, yeah. So I went with the Welder Automaton. I think 2-drops are really scarce in this format, and so I take them very highly.
Right.
Despite Karizev's expertise being a rare, it's actually not that powerful and limited. More powerful and constructed, probably. And so I feel like this was also a pretty clear pick.
And because your creatures are pretty large, you didn't have as much need for combat tricks.
Yeah, and they already have Trample. Yeah. The Cavalries have Trample anyway, so not a huge need for the Rampage.
Take a look at pick 7, where again a bunch of red cards, including one that's quite good with Lifecraft Cavalry.
Yes, Destructive Tampering is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I was at this point a little disappointed that I had passed the first one, even though I thought it was the correct pick, and was really happy to see this one so late.
It's the exact kind of card you want one of in your like red-green monsters deck.
That actually won me both games in round 1 of this draft.
Yeah. So you end up picking up another Lifecraft Cavalry or 2, Invigorate Rampage Wield, and you got a Lothnu Sailback. So you're on like the red-green monsters plan at this point pretty
Absolutely.
firmly.
But I do have 4 Cavalries and a Sailback now, so it's like a little bit awkward with how
so
many 5 drops. So
you're like only 1 or 2 5-drops short of having a perfect curve.
A perfect LSV curve.
Yeah. But you do have a lot of powerful cards. Then Kaladesh, well, let's see where this leads us.
Yeah, so this was actually a pretty awkward first pick. There's nothing else I can even really consider, so I do take the Stomper, but I'm not as happy about it as I would normally be being in green and opening a Stomper.
Right,
because it's my
this is your 6th 5-drop, so the marginal improvement is not that big. But Artifact Stomper is a fantastic card.
I ended up cutting a Cavalry for it, so I played 3 Cavalries and 1 Stomper.
And so here, this pack ended up being a concession to your curve, right?
Yeah, like Malphus Doorbuster is a better card than Kajuru Seed Sculptor most of the time, but because I need 2 drops, Seed Sculptor gets the nod.
Yeah, you ended up on the Seed Sculptor, just again, curve considerations. Move to pack 3 here. Not an exciting pack. Kaladesh tends to not give you as much as Aether Revolt, I've found.
Yeah.
And that's certainly bearing out here.
Yeah, I ended up playing 6 cards out of this pack, so not a whole lot. This was actually a kind of tough pick. Because of the curve considerations, I kind of wanted to take the Sage, but it's such a weak card and I have no energy uses.
No uses for it.
That I just still took the Spontaneous Artist.
Yeah, Spontaneous Artist can curve into one of your 5-drops.
It's not great with the Cavalry because you're unlikely to revolt it if you play it pre-combat, but whatever. Maybe you have Implement or something.
And here we see another Arborback Stomper and Unlicensed Disintegration as a potential.
This is just, I think this is just what I got out of this pack.
So you ended up picking up a lot of 2-drops in this pack. 2 Seed Sculptors, Construct, and Thriving Grubs.
Yeah, I actually took one of the Constructs relatively early and then ended up sideboarding it because I ended up getting so many 2-drops in the pack that I didn't need another one.
You also picked up 3 2-drop Commencement of Festivities in case you needed those.
They're a good sideboard card. I don't necessarily need 3 of them. And I also had a Disintegration, but I didn't decide to splash that.
And how have your rounds gone so far?
I'm 2-0 so far, so I'm on a 14-game win streak in drafts right now. I 6-0 the PT, the GP, and 2-0 here. All
right, well, you got enough 5-drops to carry you to 2-0. You have a couple fight cards, and you ended up picking up enough 2-drops in pack 3.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks for walking through our draft with us. Matt Nass,
no problem.
Lou Scott Vargas here from the Draft Viewer. Back to you.